Welcome to the video, everybody. Today I'm just going to recap on the week's news of what's happened around the hardware space. First of all, Chinese OEMs repurposing NVIDIA's GeForce GT30 mobility GPUs as desktop-grade mining cards to tackle the LHR crackdown, the low hash rate. So people are taking mobile GPUs from laptops and things and mining with those instead of the desktop ones. Asian OEMs are repurposing several NVIDIA GeForce RTX 30 series mobility GPUs, primarily the NVIDIA RTX 3070M and RTX 3060M, to meet the demand of the crypto segment. Although the demand has died down quite significantly, there are still some people who are investing in the ecosystem and expanding their existing setups. So we've got a Twitter post there with a few pictures of what people are doing. So they're taking the GPUs and putting them onto desktop cards. What's happening here is simply the case of taking an NVIDIA mobility GPU and putting it on a desktop grade PCB with a PC desktop grade cooler. The mobility GPUs feature the same die, so compatibility on existing PCBs will not be that hard to achieve. However, they do come with vastly different core specs, which are inferior to their actual desktop offerings. And here we have some examples of which, and they're pretty honest and open about what they're doing. So it's got the M on there, clearly. So that's kind of cool. I don't know. Is that good? Is that bad? The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070M graphics card offers around 65 megahash a second crypto mining performance in Ethereum. Since these cards aren't based on the LHR design, the recent driver level crackdown by NVIDIA won't affect them. So they're able to get the full potential out of the GPUs rather than suffer the LHR versions of the desktop ones. The GeForce RTX 30 mobility lineup not having any LHR SKU does save them from this. In other news, we've got the PlayStation. Sony wants half of its games on PC and mobile by 2025. That's kind of cool. Sony will be ramping up its multi-platform efforts, including plans to have roughly half of its releases heading to PC or mobile by 2025. Sony has made roughly $300 million USD on the PC platform so far, thanks to re-releases of Horizon Zero Dawn, Days Gone, and God of War. Great games, I gotta admit. It's pretty good news that they're going to be doing this. There are already a few more major PC releases planned. Currently, we expect to see Uncharted on the PC in June. Well, today's June. Kit Guru, that's where the article source was from. I agree with this as well, is while Sony is looking to have more of its releases on PC and mobile, it is worth noting that the company has not said anything about day one games. So all those exclusives and things like that are on day one probably won't still come to PC until much later. I'm thinking things like, well, I would have thought Uncharted actually, but any maybe new Uncharted games might not come to PC straight away. And also things like Spider-Man, those deep-rooted Sony IPs that they've really kept hold of those for a long time. So I always joke that the day when Spider-Man comes to PC, that's when I know Sony is playing fair and playing nice. So any titles making their way off the PlayStation will be older games, as we've seen with the company's PC releases so far. Next we have GeForce RTX 4070 graphics card specs, performance, price and availability. Everything we know so far. The previous GeForce RTX 3070 was touted to offer a huge improvement over the RTX 2070 and was said to offer performance faster than the RTX 2080 Ti, but ended up mostly on par with the Turing flagship, with only the 3070 Ti exceeding the performance of the previous Turing GPU flagship. I'd say it was quite a jump though. It definitely was a bit of a jump compared to the usual kind of progression. It was a definite jump ahead. It looks like the RTX 4070 will be placed in a similar position where it might offer graphics performance on par or close to the RTX 3080 Ti, but a Ti variant going further ahead in graphics performance. Fair enough. That's kind of what I would expect now. There's a lot of specs on there. I'm not going to read all the specs. Too boring. But feel free to check out this article if you're interested in those kind of things. We have a table here with a few sort of kind of surprising things that kind of doesn't sound like it's better, but probably is. It will be, obviously. So we've got less of a die size. That's obviously a good thing. Smaller package. We've got more CUDA cores, which is an obvious one as well. We have more teraflops, obviously good. More GDDR, and potentially in the 4070 Ti having the X variant of the memory, which is even faster. Strangely, memory bus is down to 192-bit instead of 256-bit, and memory speed is only a little bit faster on the standard 4070, but seems pretty significant jump in the Ti model. Kind of bandwidth, I was looking for a little bit better specs here. It's lower in both as well. Strange. But then the power draw is quite a bit of a jump upwards as well. Similar pricing though, apparently. Whether that comes to fruition, shortages, who knows? Who knows? They can say what they want until they actually deliver them. Similar idea with the 4080 Ti as well. We've got quite a lot of good things coming from there. 16 gig of GDDR memory as well. Again, less memory bus speed, more cores, and lower bandwidth again, but again, more higher draw of power. So expected on these cards launch to be around July, and it may be a staggered launch by the 4090 Ti first, 4080, 4070 Ti, and such following straight after amongst the months. And NVIDIA GeForce 40 series cards rumored for a mid-July reveal and a launch expected to Q3 2022. So we'll know for sure what NVIDIA is up to in the next few months. Fair to say. There's a nice table there. I found this table quite interesting as well. So the prices, they just keep on going up and up and up. Which, yeah, inflation, baby. Next up, AMD possibly readies Radeon RX 6300 Navi 24 low-end graphics card. I know we all like to hear about all the high-end stuff, but reality is the low-end stuff sells better because more people can afford it and more people don't have a specific need for a high-end graphics card. You know, we tend to sell more of the low-end stuff than we do the high-end stuff, of course. AMD might be readying another low-end RDNA 2 Navi 24 graphics card, the Radeon RX 6300. There is some speculation that the new SKU could be a refresh of the two mentioned graphics cards from the company, placing the performance just under the RX 6400 series. This new GPU would also be AMD's third Navi 24 based discrete graphics card. There are no listed specifications for the Radeon RX 6000 card with a Navi 24 GPU. The graphics card would be able to act as a hardware acceleration device or act as a low-cost option to add multiple monitors to smaller desktop rigs. The performance should be low, but it should be a suitable option for cost-saving builds. Exactly what I thought it would be for. And again, there's an awesome table that WCCF Tech has put up there with all the specs of all the different cards on the lineup. And in a mirror to that, NVIDIA have also got plans for this GTX 1630 entry-level graphics card rumored to debut on 15th of June, so that's coming very shortly, folks. The leaked timeframe for the GTX 1630 only shows shelf release dates, but does not provide review embargo timeline, so we're not sure on dates and things yet. The picture here does suggest that it's confirmed, though. It seems legit. The NVIDIA GeForce 1630 is expected to utilize a cut-down TU117 GPU with 512 CUDA cores, lower than the GeForce GTX 1650 model, of course, which offers 896 cores. The cards will also pack a 64-bit memory bus, a huge cut-down from the 128 bus that the TU117 GPU has at its disposal. It's kind of a given. It's going to be less than a 1650. You know. Memory bandwidth is lower to 96 gigabits per second. gigabytes per second, gigabits per second. I'm not sure if that was a thing. The bandwidth is less than the GeForce GTX 1050 Ti graphics card. That's a little bit on the low side. I would have hoped that it would be about the same performance as the 1050 Ti, given that it's a 30 and it's competing with a 50. But yeah, Pascal series card from 6 years ago. But it remains the 4 gig GDDR6 memory, base clock of 12 gigabits per second. Compared to the GTX 1650 GPU, memory is well over 72% quicker than the 3D Mark benchmarks that have appeared online. One thing that is apparent with the newer gen is that the memory bandwidth does seem to be lower, yet the performance is going to be better. So there could be just an architectural progression there, which doesn't require that bandwidth as much anymore. The NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1630 will also come with a low 75 watt TDP and will not offer any dedicated ray tracing or DLSS support. Performance will not be game ready on low resolutions with the ray tracing. So you can do ray tracing, but it's not going to be pretty. Well, it might be pretty, it just won't be very fast. Okay, so while we know the current date for the GTX 1630 GPU from NVIDIA, we don't know the actual pricing for the specific marketplace regions. NVIDIA might consider $150 pricing for the new variant. Might not. Again, another table by WCCF Tech. Great. I like these tables. It's just a quick reference. So good. In other news, Intel to launch Raptor Lake desktop and first Sapphire Rapid chips in October. This sounds good. Intel delayed the release of its first Sapphire Rapids HEDT processors, the Xeon W3400 and the 2400, and the W790 platform to October. The first Intel Raptor Lake chips, K and KF series, should also release in October alongside the Z790 platform. Non-K processors and the H770 and the B760 motherboards may only come out in Q1 2023. AMD is expected, kind of off on a different tangent here, AMD is expected to launch the X670 and the X670E motherboards alongside the first Zen 4 CPUs in Q3 of 2022. So AMD are sort of beating Intel to the market there. But I guess it's kind of a good sort of yin-yang. We had the Intel 12th gen this year, and then later in the year we're going to have the switch back over to AMD, and then in 2023 we're going to be skipping over to Intel again. So there's a good sort of cat and mouse kind of yin-yang going on here, which is good for the consumer. Keeps things fresh, keeps things competitive, and should be good. Exciting to see. AMD powered Frontier supercomputer breaks the exascale barrier, now the fastest in the world. The AMD powered Frontier supercomputer is now the first officially recognized exascale computer in the world, topping 1.102 exaflop per second during a sustained LinPack run. No idea how fast that actually is in terms of from a normal PC or a normal data center supercomputer. Sounds good. That ranks first on the newly released top 500 list of the world's fastest supercomputers, as the number of AMD power systems on the list has expanded significantly this year. Frontier not only overtakes the previous leader, Japan's Fugaku? Fugaku? I don't know how to say that. We'll give it a shot. But it blows it out of water. In fact, Frontier is faster than the next 7 computers on the list combined. It's faster than the next 7 supercomputers on the list combined together. Damn! Frontier also now ranks as the fastest AI system on the planet. Frontier's architecture is now also the most power-efficient supercomputer architecture in the world. God, these words. Can't do words. AMD EPYC powered systems now comprise 5 of the top 10 supercomputers in the world and 10 of the top 20. AMD are rocking it right now. AMD reigns supreme in the latest Green 500 list. The company powers the 4th most efficient systems in the world. Woo! And here's a couple of pictures. Oh, just one picture, actually. Sorry. Even though the Its system is currently peaks at 29 megawatts of power. Frontier's mechanical plant can cool up to 40 megawatts of computational power, or the equivalent of 30,000 US homes. 30,000 US homes. Wow. While Frontier gets the nod for the first officially recognized exascale supercomputer in the world, China is largely thought to have two exascale supercomputers, the Tianhe 3 and the Ocean Light, that broke the barrier a year ago. Unfortunately, those systems haven't been submitted to the Top 500 committee due to political tensions between the US and China. So it might not be the actual fastest in the world as of now. You never know. Intel-powered Aurora is expected to come online later this year or early next year with up to 2 exaflops of performance, rivaling Frontier for the top spot in the supercomputing rankings. I struggle with supercomputer. I don't know why. Good news! Valve is finally going to fix Team Fortress 2. Last year, Team Fortress 2 hit a new peak all-time player count following the game's summer update. Wow, that's amazing to hear because it's been such a long-standing game, and to know that you kind of assume that a long-standing game will eventually start to dwindle in numbers of players. But to hit an all-time player count, that's good. Unfortunately, bots still run rampant in online lobbies almost a year later. The community protested this last week in hopes of gaining Valve's attention, and it looks like that strategy finally worked. Valve hasn't updated Team Fortress 2 in any meaningful way in quite some time, despite the game still being fairly popular. Due to these ongoing issues, Team Fortress 2 fans banded together for a Save the TF2 campaign, pushing the message on social media. I do remember seeing in our feeds the hashtag SaveTF2 quite a bit, and that sparked my interest. There was even some guy dressed up as a TF2 spy and stood outside of Valve HQ with a sign reading Save TF2. It says it there actually. So yeah, that was pretty cool. On official Team Fortress 2 Twitter account, Valve wrote, "TF2 community, we hear you. We love this game and know you do too. We see how large this issue has become and are working to improve things." It's pretty strange how Valve has their anti-cheat system in place there, yet it hasn't fixed this issue on this game. Makes you wonder about all the other games that Valve has as well. CSGO. Anyway, GPU demand has been slowly but steadily declining in Q1 of 2022. We can vouch for this as well. We've noticed a difference in sales and things in this quarter. It appears the GPU market is in a slow but steady recovery from the incessant supply and demand issues that have been plaguing the industry for over the past 2 years. It's been a wild ride. AMD saw the slightest decline of just 1.5%, while Nvidia saw a modest 3.2% increase. Intel's market decline showed the most significant drop at a negative 8.7% when compared to the last quarter. On the flip side, consumer graphics cards from an add-in board partners, AIBs, have been on an increase in shipments by 1.4% from last year, so it appears that these shipments reductions are mostly a result of OEM machines and especially laptops. There's a pretty good graph chart there to sum that up into a picture. In Q1 of 2021, Intel saw a large 68% GPU market share. Intel seems weird, doesn't it? That's on the mobile devices, I guess. Thanks to the massive volume of integrated graphics chips. Shouldn't really count that, should it? Yeah. It ships with both desktops and laptops. AMD came in second place with a 17% market share. Again, thanks mostly to integrated graphics solutions, though it did ship some discrete GPUs as well. Some. Nvidia, meanwhile, had just 15% of the market share, but that consists entirely of dedicated solutions. Yeah, see, that's more true number, really. There's not as many integrated Nvidia stuff, as the company lacks any integrated graphics options. Yeah. Fast forward to Q1 of 2022, and the GPU market share landscape has changed quite a bit. Intel lost 8% of its market share and now sits at 60%, and Nvidia has jumped into second place with a 21% market share, with AMD improving slightly to 19%. This is impressive considering all the Nvidia graphics shipments come exclusively from discrete GPUs. Yeah, it is. Interestingly, discrete GPUs shipments from AMD, Nvidia, and now Intel has changed over the past year, thanks to Intel's entrance into discrete GPU space. Yeah, absolutely. Q1 of 2021, of course, saw no Intel market share, leading with Nvidia leading by 81%. 81% is Nvidia, and AMD 19%. Now that's changed as Q4 of 2021, where Intel grabbed a respectable 5% market share. Not bad. Nice indentation there of Intel coming to market. When you think of how much it's catching up with AMD, 19%. And AMD dropped to a point of 18%, while Nvidia led the pack at 78%. So I guess they took more share from Nvidia than they did AMD. So interesting. Overall, this data seems to confirm that GPU demand has been steadily decreasing, which is great considering the explosive year we had last year. Not great for us, but yeah, okay, great for you guys. Where GPU supply could not keep up with demand with the drop-off in mining profitability, combined with the impending launches of NVIDIA's Ada architecture and AMD's RDNA 3, we expect supply will continue to improve. That could lead to GPU selling at or below MSRP by the end of the year. Not so sure on that one. Okay, so however, we suspect demand for the next gen, yeah, exactly. This demand for the next generation GPUs will once again eclipse supply, at least in the short term, once those parts launch. Yeah, so we're declining now, and I think also they're probably going to be wanting to get, a lower stock of those soon-to-be old GPUs, so that it paves the way for the new GPUs, and then we go around again. We have all the supply and demand issues. That's my thoughts on the subject, is that people are on the 2070 or the 2080 series card may have missed out on the 30 series altogether, and then now are going to be looking to go forward and go on the 40 series. Because if you think about when ray tracing came in on the 20 series, people probably jumped on that pretty well. Obviously, we know people jumped on the 30 series, but maybe those were the ones that were not going for the 20 series. With the jump and the mining and things like that in performance on the 30 series, that made their stock levels pretty scarce. But all those 20 series initial adopters will be, I reckon, looking for the 40 series. We also didn't expect to see the downward trend in GPU sales to last forever. No, never does. What goes up must come down, and what goes down must go up, as they say. Well, I say anyway. World's first room temperature quantum computer installed in Australia. Hey, we got a win, guys. We got a win. The world's first on-premises room temperature quantum computer has just been installed in Pawsey's Supercomputing Research Centre in Australia. It's in Western Australia, by the way, in case anybody wants to know that, because that's the first thing I asked when I read that. I was like, where in Australia? The room temperature achievement was unlocked due to Quantum Brilliance's approach to quantum computing. Instead of the more common ion chains, silicon quantum dots, or superconducting transmon qubits, Quantum Brilliance took advantage of the naturally occurring nitrogen vacancy centers in the synthetic diamonds. There's so many words in there that I have no idea about. Anyway, it all sounds awesome. These vacancy centers amount to defects in the diamond's structure, which feature a photoluminescence capability that allows for the qubit spin states to be read based on the emitted light's characteristics, without directly interacting with the qubits. I hope this makes sense to you. It just sounds impressive to me, but scary. A number of techniques such as magnetic or electric fields, microwave radiation, or light can be used directly manipulate the nitrogen vacancy center's electron spin. Andrew Horsley, the CEO of Quantum Brilliance, said, "Our vision is to take quantum from mainframe to mainstream, running in your mobile phone, your car, your work platforms, or anywhere close to the application where it's needed," said Horsley. "This collaboration is our first step to achieving this goal." Wow. So at the minute, obviously, we're in laboratory sort of environments, but as things get smaller and better and more refined, and the process of making the things get more refined as well, we should start to see the shrinkage and the cost-effective value of these kind of technologies. So good to see. I hope I'm around on this planet still when quantum computing is done. While nowadays most quantum computing work is done on a simulated environment on platforms such as IBM's Qiskit and NVIDIA's QQuantum initiative, CU Quantum? Thinking CU cores, CUDA cores. Anyway, the deployment of a room temperature quantum computer with a supercomputing center will allow researchers to truly leverage on-site computing, maintenance, and integration. Nice. Okay, that's this week's roundup of the news. That's been 25 minutes. Hope you stuck with it, and thank you if you did. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of these. This is just something I sort of wanted to do for a long time, just to round up what I've heard this week. And I've narrowed it down to 10 articles. It's so hard to narrow it down, but these are the ones that caught my interest and that I found entertaining and interesting about the progress of technology and, more importantly, Team Fortress 2. All right, have a great weekend. Bye, everybody. Bye.